Hello and welcome to the 88th episode of the But I'm Knitting podcast. My name is Ramona. I'm a knitter from Toronto and welcome to my corner of the crafting world. It's been well over a month since the last time I did an episode, but there are good reasons for it, and I guess we'll go over them afterwards. So because of this over a month long hiatus, I've got one finished product, quite a few new cast-ons, works in progress, and stash acquisitions. I think I'm going to start with my works in progress. No, my finished objects, works in progress, stash acquisitions, and then new cast-ons. Because some of the items that I casted on started with yarns that, well, I have to kind of show them to you first. So for my finished objects, I finished my socks for my friend. What ended up happening was originally, it was supposed to be ready to go home with her when she came to visit. Here's the problem. I was still working on the foot when she came, and I was still working on the foot when she left. And then afterwards, I basically have to pack these things up to mail it to her. Haven't done that yet. Mostly because I've been too lazy to go to the, I have to weave in ends, but that's like the least of the problem. I have been too busy, lazy, or it hasn't been convenient to make it to the the post office to send them off. But I will do it. So these are my socks for Mercy. So they are done. So the yarn that I used was from Artfill for both the red and the black, for the heel cuffs and toes. So the red is called Scarlet. It doesn't actually twist like that. I just realized it's doing that on the needle, on the blocker. The pattern doesn't actually twist like that, but nope, I'm pull you back that way. There we go. So the red yarn is from Artfill Yarns in the colorway Scarlet. The black is by Artfill Yarns in the color Onyx. I actually remembered it because I have no idea where I put the labels. So easy to make. It was a pattern that I had done before. I just, instead of doing it just down the front like I did on the pair that I made for myself, I just did it all the way around. And I just added a lovely little detail of the up there on the ribbing. So these are ready to be shipped out. They have now been seen by the podcast, and I'm going to package them up. Hopefully sometime this week I'll make it to the post office and send them off to her. She already saw one completed sock, so it's not a surprise. She knows she's getting them anyways. So there we go. One pair of finished objects. So now for my works in progress. There is one where I have no idea where I put it. I've been looking for the bag, but it's there. There's somewhere. I can't find them now, but if I say I'm going to wait for that, then I'm never going to put up another podcast. So one of my works in progress is a sock that I am almost done. So for this one, okay, last time you had seen it, these are my Anne of Green Gable socks. I can't remember who did the yarns. I'll put everything on the down bar below. But last time you had seen it, I was on the toe of the first sock. So it's a self-striping sock yarn. So I was on the toe of the first one. So I finished the toe, started the second foot, and guess what now? I'm on the toe of the second sock. I actually put these down for quite some time as I was working on other projects. But what was it? Today I had somewhere that I had to be, which was a great place for knitting. And just want to show you how much I did since I picked it up this morning to this point. So I was about halfway up the foot. I basically finished the rest of the foot and I started working on the toes. So I can get these things done tonight. And then, yay, another finished project that will be ready to go. So that is one of my works in progress. It's an almost finished cast on. And I actually had a discussion with a lady today about dyeing with avocado skins and pits. So I actually got to show her because she was asking about it. So I got to show her what it turns out like when you dye with it. For mine, it turned out to be this very pale pink color. So that's that work in progress. That's almost done. It might as well be done. The other sock I'm going to show you is my Scuda socks. I'm not certain if I had I don't know how far I had reached last time I showed them, because I didn't put a progress keeper on it or anything, but just in case I didn't show anything. So these are my Scooter socks. It's by, I'll put it at the bottom. My memory is just not there right now. So these are the Scooter socks. I think I did talk about this, because I was saying I was not happy with the way that I did this part, and I wish I had. I'm probably going to try and make these socks again, and if I do, I'll put it in an afterthought heel. And because I think the only reason for doing this heel was to try something new, and afterwards, because the pattern design goes down the back of the sock. But I don't like, because of the way the heel is done, it goes across the front, and I hate this part of it. Like, I don't like that. I like it for the heel, cuffs, and toes. I don't like it for being on the front of the foot. So we'll see what happens with these how I do these again. I'm still on the first sock. I didn't make it to the second sock. The yarn that I'm using, this one was dyed by me. I just love the green. It's just so bright and pretty. And then afterwards, can't remember the story behind this one. I don't remember which yarn this is, because I've gotten so many and I don't keep the labels for all of them, much to my dismay. Nope, that's a pin. Nope. I don't remember. I'd have to go through my emails and see, because I know I got it from the Loft. I'll have to go through and check my receipts to see where I got that from. So that's everything for my works in progress. Let's go through my stash enhancements, or anything that I got that was, knitting related. I can move this over here. So, all right, I know where I'm going to start with. So, in December, I went to the Loft, and they had a trunk show for Delphina bags. Is that the right name? I'm not exactly sure what the name of it is. Hold on. Yeah, Delphina. I knew the Delphina part. I don't know if it's Delphina bags or whatever. Either way, I got 2 bags that were made by her, and I'm so happy. So the first one is my sock bag. It's small, but it's got like socks all over it. I basically decided between the two, and I realized when I saw this one I could not leave it behind. So this is the one where my soft striping socks. This is what they've been living in ever since I got the bag. So, yay. The other one is also by her. This one has a new cast on inside of it. So this fabric, she actually had it specifically made for the Loft. And I couldn't leave it behind. You told me it's exclusively made, and I'm gonna love it. So there's that bag. I will show everything else off under it, but I love the fact that it's got this great strap. I'm very much, especially when it comes to sock knitting as well, a bag with a good handle, because I will have a tendency trying to do everything. I will basically open up the zipper, take out the sock, and start walking and knitting at the same time, if it's not too, dangerous to my health type of thing. So I really do like these. So that's for the bags. I think that's all I have for bags, right? Okay. Next, I have gotten a new set of stitch markers. This is called Flight of the Stitch Markers by Coco Knits. So here's how it comes inside of the box. I just got this one yesterday. And then afterwards, if I turn it, basically it's different sizes of stitch markers that are inside there. So this is the really tiny ones. These are the triangular shaped ones that I already have. This one is one of the split rings, so you can easily take it on and off of your project. These are the large ones, and this is the medium round rings. So I'm looking forward to getting a good amount of use for these for the different projects that I have. I shouldn't have to buy another set for quite some time. So that was the new one for me yesterday. Okay, let's go on through this. So let's see. Yeah, I just bought a bunch of stuff. There's no particular order for these. One of them, I actually already caked it up, and I'm using it in a project, so I guess I'll show that with the new project. So, in January, at the Toronto Knitters Guild, they had the vendor for, was it last week? Yeah, for last week Wednesday was Feisty Fibers. I actually have 2 over skeins around here somewhere that took me forever to find again, but I found them. I will eventually get around to using them, but I bought 2 skeins of yarn while I was there. So I got this one. This one is called, it's Beyond Sock. So this is her sock weight. This is 80% superwash, 20% nylon. So this one's called Spelling Bees. So it's got like little, it's bright yellow and it's got little flecks of black in there. And the other yarn that I got right here is called Wild Child. I saw these from, when I was at the meeting. I was basically in my seat. I didn't get a chance to buy the yarn at the beginning of the meeting because I was busy with actual duties for the meeting. And so afterwards, but it's like my eye caught the yellow from way back. I'm usually sitting in like a third row from the back, but my eye caught the vision of this one, and I basically ran up to the front, and I as soon as I was able to buy it again after the presentation, I bought these two. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I haven't decided yet, but I do like them, so they're going to go into my stash, and hopefully I'll find something to do with them soon, eventually, after I finish a few other stuff. Okay. Let's put these back in there for now. Next. Ooh, yes. We'll start with this one. This one I ordered online from Mud Punch Yarns. I actually found her on Instagram, and she does sell striping, and usually what she does, she'll show these color swatches, like 4 colors, and then basically make a 4-color self-striping yarn out of it. So I saw the colors for this one, and I decided I loved it. This one is called Just Like a Circus from Mud Punch. You can see there. And then that's the makeup of the yarn, if you can see that clearly. So for this one, it's like hot pink, light blue, purple, and green. So this should be fun whenever I get around to actually working with it. She sends it vacuum sealed, so it basically comes like a flat package. And then, well, I couldn't wait to leave it in that, so I had to open it up and and fluff it up and put it up into my skein. So this is ready to go. Waiting for something to knit with this, most likely socks. So that's ready to go. That's my next acquisition. It looks like a lot because this has been like a month and a half. Also at the Loft, the Cozy Knitter is now a permanent seller there. They're always going to be carrying her yarn. So I got one that I've always wanted. What I really wanted was the advent calendar, but because of circumstances, I was not able to make it on the day that she actually had that in. I had booked the Sunday off to be able to go, but I wasn't able to go. So I ended up going on the Friday before, and she had and there were a few skeins that are up for sale, but so since I wasn't able to get the advent calendar, trust me, I will be prepared for 2020 Christmas to get it. So I ended up getting, this one is Gingerbread House. I have been hearing her and just about everybody else who's into self-striping yarn talk about this for as long as I've heard of her company. So I got this. I'm not going to be knitting this now. This is definitely going to be waiting until closer to Christmas. Just because it feels like I should be drinking a nice hot cup of cocoa when I'm having this. So this one is on her Bliss base. And this one I will keep for myself. Because every time I have the yarn from the Cozy Knitter, somebody else always gets the yarn. My aunt got the first one. The second pair I'm making, my little sister looked at them. That's the one that I can't find right now. And she's decided that she wants it. I said, fine, this one will be mine. If I make the advent calendar, those will be mine, not anybody else's. So, got this. I'm looking forward to knitting that, but that's going to stay in the stash for a bit of time. And at the December meeting of the Toronto Knitters Guild, Cabin Boy Knits was vending as well as speaking. So he actually got a lovely little sticker to put on his bags when he got them. So I just kept holding everything in there. He had a 4 of them. So this is, I got 5 skeins of this yarn. It is natural dyed with indigo. It's a 1-ply Canadian wool. It's basically, the sheep come from Canada, the breed is Canadian. Here is here's a 1-ply skein. So I got 5 of these. And the only time you ever need that many skeins for a project is for a sweater quantity. So I already have it caked up and started using one of the skeins from this set. So I got 5 of them. Hold on, let me take these ones. Stay. Good yarn. Okay. So once I get past the point that I'm going to start alternating the skeins, because as you look at them, it's you don't expect them to all to be the same. But these are the ones that I'm currently, having to sit down there. They're not all the same color, especially this one looks like it's a little bit more off. But if I turn it this way, nope, same thing. So I'm looking forward to working with these. They're not I'm hoping that, though, that when I wash them, it will be a bit softer, because they feel a little bit more rustic than I was anticipating. It's not something I'm used to working with, but I do like it. This is going to be one of those ones where I actually have to pay attention, because it's not super wash. And, careful how I wash it and block it and all of that kind of stuff. Alright, I'm not looking forward to that part, but, well, we'll see. So now let me show you the last part of my stash enhancement. I promise this is like the last one. I'm not used to buying this much yarn. So, the other ball, it's right here, currently being used, right? So, I started on a new sweater. The sweater that I'm working on is called For Fox's Sakes. I have been wanting, I got this, somebody gave this pattern to me as a gift last year for my birthday, and I kept saying I'm going to work on it, and I finally got the yarn for it starting December. Once I saw the Cabin Boy knits, and I feel like I got a good deal on the yarn. I'm using that for my base color, and the rest of them, it's actually all from Lichen and Lace. I got a nice picture of the yarn. Hold on, I'll probably show it here. Alright, and then these are the colors that I am working with, because they're all pretty much attached. Where's the other one? There's the other one. Okay, so do I remember the colors for them? No, but I'll try and put them on their screen somewhere if I can find them. So these are the 3 contrasting colors for the sweater. So I love these colors. They are single ply as well. They're also by a Canadian dyer. So I feel like, Canadiana shirt, sweater, yay! I'm very happy about that. Let me show you my progress on my sweater in the meantime. Hold on. Take that out too. Okay, sorry. Okay, now put you guys back in. Please don't tangle or fall. Okay, so I'm still in the early stages of this. I can't really pull it out completely to show you, but so I'm at basically the tips of the ears. So this is what I've done so far. So I'm only using one ball of the Cabin Boy Knits in Indigo up here. When I get down to the body, that's when I'll start alternating the skeins. But yeah. So this is how much I've done. I'm only maybe about a third of the way, because when you see the fox, you'll see that right now I'm at the point of the tip of his ears. So I still got to work the way down. So I'm liking it. I think it's beautiful. And all of my triangular stitch markers, this is mostly where they've gone to this and another project, which you'll see afterwards. So I'm good. My plan is to have this finished for the end of March. So I got to get cracking once I finish my other projects. So that's one of my projects. And after I finish my next one that I'm going to show you, this will be my primary focus. Not to travel with, but you know what I mean. My last project to show you is one that I cast on. I'm sure I showed a picture of it from the last episode. It's the Graph Hat by Jared Flood. I'm actually making some amazing progress on this. So I started this end of December. Yeah, before the new year though. So, here it is so far. The yarn I'm using is Mondim for this project. Oh, my label broke. Before I put it in my bag, it wasn't like that. But anyways, my label broke. So this is Mondim in the color 115, I think. Based on where it's been ripped. Yeah, I think it's 115. But either way, it's Mondim yarn, which is 100%, I think, is it Peruvian? No, Portuguese wool. 100% Portuguese wool. So I'm working my way through it. I actually think I'm going to have a good amount left over. Because I finished the main body. Now I'm on the decreases working my way across. So I am loving the cabling detail. There are a couple of places where I saw that I made mistakes, but if anything, I at least kept it all the same. Like down here, I forgot to do a cable. If you can see it, like right there. But guess what? Anytime I had that row across all the way around the hat, it's all the same. So it looks like it could be done on purpose unless people are looking too closely. So I just got a bit more to go along the top. I'm learning new decrease techniques and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that by the next time I show this, I can be wearing it on my head and it's ready to go. I am loving this. So the color is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And somebody already asked me for this color. Not for this color, for this hat in a different color. We'll see how well that goes. So that is my other cast on, new cast on. I believe that is everything. I showed off all of my new acquisition, which is like a ridiculous amount. I haven't even put it on Ravelry or anything like that. So that is everything for that. So, I guess we'll get into what the more, well, the reason why I haven't updated in a while. So in November, when my mom was away in New York, I had gone to the nursing home with my aunt to go see my grandfather. And it was my first time seeing him in the nursing home. And he was ecstatic to show the place off to me. He wheeled all over the place, showing us where everything was. And even though like the nursing home was like right by the bus stop that I always would go to work with. So he would excitedly show me everything. And I was happy to see him. And I said, okay, I'm definitely going to come back and make sure I come and see you, depending on how my work schedule goes. By the time my mom came back from New York, I hadn't managed to make it back. But on the Friday, he had a doctor's appointment, and they would have been going right by. I had promised my mom I was going to go to her cousin's restaurant and grab my mom some food. So when I went into the restaurant, which is like further down the street, is where my grandfather had his doctor's appointment. I ended up seeing my aunt in there, and you know, we got our food, and she told me, oh yeah, your mom and grandpa, they're in the car around the corner and I'm getting lunch. I said, okay. You know, when I saw my grandfather, it kind of broke my heart. He looked like he could barely move. He was very weak. He couldn't even sit up straight. He was, you know, like leaning off to the side inside of the car, inside the van. And I came to find out, like he had like no energy, but I also came to find out that he wasn't really eating. It was a very drastic difference from when I had seen him the last time. But like he's always been somebody, if he doesn't like something, he just won't eat. But usually he was very self-sufficient. So he just, at our house, he just cooked something what he wanted, or had somebody to go to the grocery store and pick up the stuff that he needed to make his own food. But now that he was in a nursing home, it wasn't really an option. So he just basically didn't eat, and he felt like he couldn't eat, like he had no energy to do anything for himself. So it took a while to get him back to the nursing home. We got him food that he likes, and he was maybe able to eat about 3 or 4 forkfuls before he declared he was full. Forks aren't that big, and because he hadn't eaten for such a long time, he felt like he couldn't do it, and he felt like my aunt was trying to stuff him or something like that. But, you know, we had to get him to eat. So we pretty much decided, okay, if that's the case, then, you know, every day we're going to be coming back to the nursing home to make sure that you eat, because you're not eating when they're watching you. So, on the Sunday, I think my aunt stayed home from church, and she went with him and made sure that he ate. That was on the Saturday. On the Sunday, she went again in the morning, and in the evening, my mom went to make sure he had dinner. On the Monday morning, because I didn't start work till 12, I was going to go in for breakfast and make sure he eats. So it's like, you know, I set my alarm clock to go off for 7 o'clock so I could get ready and get everything done before I went to go, you know, make sure he has his breakfast. And when I went, and before I even got to get out of my bed, my aunt said, don't bother going to the nursing home. He's in the hospital and it's not looking good. I said, okay. But he goes in and out of the hospital every once in a while because, something went wrong with something else or another. That night when she came home, she pretty much told me it doesn't look good. They pretty much had to wear hazmat suits inside the hospital. I'm not like, okay, that's not good. His immune system was pretty much shot. I'm like, that's very drastic. By the Thursday, because of my work schedule and other things that I had to do, I couldn't make it to the hospital to go see him. By the Thursday, I was going in for my 12 o'clock shift, and she called me and said, it doesn't look good. I don't think he's leaving here. So I was, completely visibly upset. And by this time, I was already upset otherwise because the bus to go to work just was not coming. So I called an Uber, and on the Uber, while I was driving, going to work, and she had called me, I was basically crying on the way. They dropped me off at work. I went to my manager, and I basically told him, I don't think I'm going to be able to work today because I'm worried about my grandfather. I had tears streaming down my face. I'm not a person who generally gets overly emotional to the point of tears very often. So he basically said, you know what, it's okay, don't worry about work. Go off and go see your grandfather. So I basically spent the rest of Thursday at the house with my grandfather. He opened his eyes a little bit with me, but generally he pretty much stayed asleep for the entire day. And I was there until, a few other people came by to visit, and I went home at about 10 o'clock that night. On Friday, I went back there again. I spent all day with him. On the Saturday, my aunt actually stayed overnight with him on the Friday. On the Saturday, I came and relieved her at about 12 because she was completely and totally exhausted because so concerned about his health, he can't really sleep properly if you start hearing beeping and all that kind of stuff. So at about 12, I came in the next day, I brought her lunch, and we switched places. And I stayed there until about 9 o'clock, and my mom was over. So it wasn't good. It really wasn't good. I think the next time I came to see him again was on Christmas Day. And my dad was there with his wife and the kids. Every once in a while, other people would come in. And then by this point, I was already he hadn't woken up. He basically stayed asleep the entire time. You tried to feed him. He didn't even notice anybody was there. So by the time Thursday morning, which was Boxing Day, came around, and I started work. I was supposed to start work. I started work at 8 o'clock. I was getting ready to walk out of the house, sorry. My mom comes down the stairs and tells me that he died. I basically sat down there and I'm just like, okay, all right. And I just packed up and I continued going to work. I already did most of my crying from the week before. I was honestly more concerned about my cousin because it was actually his birthday that day. And my cousin's a person who has a tendency to dwell on things even though they're not within his control. And this is on the day of his birth, I knew, I basically, I guess I'll see evidence of how well that works for next year. So yeah, my grandpa died at 90 and a half years old on Thursday, December 26th. We planned the funeral. Actually, I'd found out the week before that another lady who was family to us, very close to us, she had ALS and she died the week before. So it's been hard on my family. But the thing is, most of these deaths, they're pretty much expected. She had ALS and she lived with it for 4 years. And she had reached a point that if her head fell down, she could not lift it up. She had a breathing tube that would cause problems. So that's a very stressful thing to deal with for both the people who have to take care of them and the person going through it, because there's nothing that they can do. So basically, in January, my first 2 weekends in January was spent doing funerals. So yeah, so it's been a sad time. But it was nice to I got to see family that I hadn't seen in a long time. I got to meet family that I had never met before. But you know what? My grandfather's not suffering anymore. He's not in pain anymore. He doesn't have any worries or cares or stresses or anything like that. So I'm not sad. Sorry about that. Interrupted my mom. Can't say no to mom when she needs help. So, you know what? Yeah, don't have much more to say about that. So, there'll probably be a little bit of a video montage or something like that after this. After this, and then that's gonna be it. So nice to see you. Thank you for waiting around to see me again too. Have a good day, and bye.
He goes before me. He goes before me. Yes. The defender behind me. Defender behind me. I won't fear. I won't fear. I'm filled with anointing. I'm filled with anointing. My cup is overflowing. My cup's overflowing. No weapon can harm me. No weapon can harm me. Sing, I won't fear. I won't fear. People of God sing hallelujah. Hallelujah. I am not alone. Sing, He is my comfort. He is my comfort. And He always holds me. Let's sing. He always guides me. He always guides me. Through mountains and valleys. Mountains and valleys. Sing, joy is refreshing. Joy is refreshing. Restores my soul. Restores my soul. Let's sing mercy. Your spirit lives within. My victory, my victory, my victory. Sing your spirit lives within. I will walk in your peace, oh God. Your spirit lives within. My victory, my victory, my victory. Sing your spirit lives within. am not alone. Sin is my comfort. He's my comfort. Always holds me close. Thy loving kindness is thy loving kindness, O God. Therefore the children of men, amen. Therefore the children of men put their trust, put their trust under the shadows of thy love. And thou shalt make them drink of the river, and thou shalt make them drink of the river, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of life. Pleasure, and thou shalt be abundantly satisfied then. O